This video, shared by Jonathan and Susie Lamb, individuals who had previously been prominent figures in the Daystar television network, became the focal point of a storm that would soon engulf one of the most influential Christian media organizations in the world. The Lambs had long been part of the fabric of Daystar, a network that was known not only for its extensive outreach, but also for its association with high-profile figures in the Christian community. What the Lambs revealed, however, would change the way many people viewed the ministry forever. This was not a typical public announcement. It was a deeply personal, emotional, and dramatic exposure of a powerful institution's darkest secrets. A mysterious message. The video was not filmed in a conventional setting. It was clear from the outset that Jonathan and Susie Lamb were speaking from a hidden location. This wasn't the type of broadcast viewers were accustomed to from such a respected ministry. This was different. Jonathan's words were somber and heavy with meaning. "We've been keeping a secret," he began. "There's been a lot going on that we couldn't talk about for the past 2 years. But now we've given all of our evidence to the media, including the police." The stark tone of his voice underscored the gravity of what was being revealed. Beside him, Susie, her voice quivering with emotion, added, "We've been threatened. We've had agents following us. We've been terrified, but we couldn't stay silent any longer. We have to speak up, for the sake of our daughter, for the truth. We had no choice but to go public." The shocking allegations, abuse at Daystar. As the Lambs continued to speak, it became clear that the secret they had been keeping was a devastating one. The Daystar ministry had been hiding a horrifying abuse within their ranks, a cover-up that stretched far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Jonathan and Susie explained that the abuse involved their young daughter, and it was allegedly committed by someone very close to the family. They referred to this individual only as Pete, an enigmatic figure who, it would later be revealed, was connected to the Lamb family and deeply embedded in the Daystar leadership. The Lambs went on to share the details of their shocking discovery. "Our daughter came to us and told us she had been hurt." Jonathan's voice cracked as he recounted the moment that would forever change their lives. "At first, we thought it was a misunderstanding, but as we continued to investigate, we began to suspect that it might be someone in our own family. At first, we thought we were wrong, but the truth was far worse than we could have imagined. The family's refusal to acknowledge the truth. Perhaps the most heart-wrenching part of the Lamb's testimony was the lack of concern and action from their own family members, particularly Jonathan's mother, Joni Lamb. Jonathan and Susie explained how they turned to their family, desperate for support and guidance, but were instead met with disbelief and outright denial. Joni Lamb, who was a senior figure in Daystar and Jonathan's own mother, was one of the most vocal defenders of Pete, despite the mounting evidence against him. "Pete is innocent," Joni insisted, even claiming that God had told her so. The price of speaking out. Jonathan and Susie Lamb's decision to go public with their story came at a great personal cost. Not only did they lose the support of their family, but they also faced significant professional and personal repercussions. Jonathan's refusal to sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, that would have silenced him led to him being ousted from his position within Daystar. As the supposed heir to his father Marcus Lamb's legacy, Jonathan's dismissal was a powerful signal of the lengths the Daystar leadership would go to in order to suppress the truth. Jonathan's story became a painful reminder of how deeply corruption can take root in powerful institutions, even those that claim to represent moral and spiritual righteousness. In the midst of this turmoil, the Lambs found themselves facing increasing threats. There were attempts to silence them, to intimidate them into recanting their accusations. The police were allegedly instructed not to disclose any details of the investigation, and there were efforts to keep the matter away from the public eye. Despite these challenges, Jonathan and Susie remained resolute. They knew that exposing the truth, no matter the cost, was the only way to protect their daughter and to hold the powerful figures within Daystar accountable for their actions. The response from Daystar: denial and deflection. When Daystar responded to the allegations, their stance was one of denial and deflection. The network issued a statement claiming that the Lambs' accusations were baseless and unfounded. A spokesperson from Daystar went so far as to label Jonathan and Susie as liars, accusing them of fabricating the story in an act of anger over Jonathan's removal as heir to the Daystar throne. The network's response was both defensive and dismissive, focusing more on discrediting the Lamb's character than addressing the grave accusations they had raised. Daystar's larger pattern of corruption. This scandal surrounding Jonathan and Susie Lamb was not the first time that Daystar had found itself embroiled in controversy. In fact, Daystar had a long history of spreading misinformation and engaging in questionable practices, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. The network had been a significant player in the distribution of misleading information about the virus and the vaccine, with Marcus Lamb himself promoting false claims to his vast audience. Over 80 episodes of Daystar broadcasts featured erroneous information about the pandemic, some of which could have contributed to harmful behaviors and misinformation within the Christian community. This troubling track record of misinformation was part of a larger pattern of corruption and dysfunction that plagued the ministry, and it made the Lamb's decision to go public all the more urgent. The consequences of speaking out for Jonathan and Susie. Speaking out came at a steep price. They lost not only their careers within Daystar, but also their safety and security. The threats and intimidation they faced were a constant reminder of the power that institutions like Daystar wield. Yet, despite everything, they pressed on, determined to bring the truth to light. Their courage in the face of overwhelming pressure is a testament to their unwavering commitment to justice and their love for their daughter. The broader implications, confronting power and corruption. The story of Jonathan and Susie Lamb serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, particularly when religious institutions are involved. Their journey raises profound questions about the intersection of faith, power, and corruption. How can religious organizations maintain their moral integrity when they are driven by the desire for influence and control? How can families reconcile their faith with the betrayals and lies that may exist within their own institutions? These are the questions that Jonathan and Susie Lamb's story forces us to confront. The Lamb's story, however, is not just a personal tragedy. It is a cautionary tale for us all. It reveals the disturbing reality that powerful religious organizations, cloaked in the veneer of faith and righteousness, can sometimes be riddled with corruption, abuse, and secrecy. The courage exhibited by Jonathan and Susie in exposing these wrongdoings should inspire others who may find themselves in similar situations, where they are forced to choose between loyalty to family or institution and standing up for the truth. A wake-up call for the Christian community. The revelations from the Lambs have become a wake-up call for the broader Christian community, particularly for those who place their trust in influential religious figures and organizations. For years, Daystar had been seen as a beacon of Christian television, a network that reached millions of viewers around the world with its programming. The ministry had carefully cultivated an image of integrity, faith, and love, making it difficult for many to imagine that anything sinister could be taking place behind the scenes. The importance of transparency and accountability. Jonathan and Susie Lamb's decision to speak out highlights the importance of transparency and accountability within religious organizations. It is clear that when institutions are allowed to operate with little oversight, there is the potential for grave harm to be done, both to individuals and to the reputation of the faith they claim to represent. The Lambs were not simply calling for justice in their own personal situation. They were calling for a greater reckoning within the Christian media world. They were demanding that leaders be held accountable for their actions and that the voices of those who have suffered be heard. The personal cost of speaking out. As much as the Lamb's story is one of courage and resilience, it is also a deeply painful reminder of the personal toll that comes with standing up for the truth. Jonathan and Susie Lamb have lost much in the process: their careers, their safety, their family relationships, and their sense of security. Yet despite the immense costs, they have remained steadfast in their pursuit of justice. Their unwavering commitment to speaking the truth, even in the face of tremendous opposition, serves as an example of the power of integrity and the importance of standing up for what is right. For Jonathan and Susie, the personal sacrifices have been immense. They have been forced to leave behind a life and a ministry that had defined them for years. They have been ostracized by their family, their reputation tarnished, and their safety threatened. But, in the end, Their actions speak volumes about their character and the depth of their convictions. By choosing to stand up for their daughter and for the truth, they have shown that justice is more important than personal gain or the protection of one's status. A call for reform. The events that unfolded within Daystar are not isolated incidents. As the Lamb's story has shown, the problems of abuse, corruption, and a lack of accountability extend beyond just one organization. These issues are pervasive within religious communities and institutions around the world, and it is time for a broader reckoning. The Church, as an institution that represents moral and spiritual guidance for many, must examine its own structures and practices to ensure that they do not foster environments where abuse and corruption can flourish. The need for reform is urgent. Religious organizations must implement strict oversight and accountability mechanisms to prevent the abuse of power. They must foster an environment where transparency is not just a buzzword, but a guiding principle in how they operate. Leaders must be held accountable not just to their congregations but to the communities they serve. The Lamb's decision to come forward has ignited a conversation about these critical issues and has provided an opportunity for much-needed change. A legacy of courage and hope. Despite the pain and suffering they have endured, Jonathan and Susie Lamb's story is not one of despair. It is one of hope and perseverance. By choosing to break their silence, they have not only begun a fight for justice for their daughter, but have also sparked a broader movement for reform within Christian organizations. Their story is a beacon of hope for others who may be facing similar situations, and it serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the truth can shine through. The courage of Jonathan and Susie Lamb is a testament to the power of speaking out, even when it seems impossible. Their decision to stand against the tide of family loyalty, institutional power, and public pressure has had a ripple effect that will resonate far beyond their personal situation. They have taken a stand for truth and justice, and in doing so, they have paved the way for others to do the same. The power of truth. In the end, the story of Jonathan and Susie Lamb is a powerful reminder of the importance of truth. It is a story of a family that was willing to sacrifice everything to expose the darkness hidden within a powerful institution. It is a story of betrayal, courage, and the quest for justice. But most importantly, it is a story about the power of speaking the truth, no matter how difficult or dangerous it may be. The Lamb's decision to come forward has set a precedent for others to follow, and their legacy will undoubtedly shape the future of Christian organizations for years to come. Their struggle is not over, but the battle they have started is one that must continue. The fight for transparency, accountability, and justice within religious organizations is far from finished. As more people like the Lambs come forward, the light will shine ever brighter, and the truth will prevail.